and locally grounded adaptation. He has more than a decade of public service experience and a PhD in progress. He has spearheaded the development of Kano State's climate policy. He is a fellow of the Africa Research Impact Network, and he advocates for transparent, inclusive climate governance. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause for Dr. Anka as he proceeds to the stage to lead this conversation. And to join Dr. Anka in this conversation, it's going to be, first on my list here is Gloria Kasang. Gloria Kasang, Her Royal Highness Gloria Kasang Bulus is a passionate environmentalist and founder of Bridge the Gap initiative. She's made history as the first African to receive the Alfredo Serkis Memorial Green Ring Award. A round of applause, please, for that. She which was presented by the former U.S. Vice President Al Gore. She holds many leadership roles, including national focal point for GDNR, with decades of climate advocacy, policy engagement, and grassroots mobilization. Gloria brings deep expertise to Nigeria's environmental movement. A round of applause, please, for her. Next on the list, I'm saving the other for the last, but next on my list is Professor Idris Tanko. Please, a round of applause for Professor. Professor has been here since very early morning. And so sorry we had to push your panel a little, but it's really an honor having you. He's a professor of geography. Adamu Idris Tanko is a professor of geography with proven records of teaching, research, and community service. As a scholar, over the course of 3 decades, he developed extensive skills and innovation in research. His research interest is in 3 areas. 1, environmental and development, with special focus on governance of natural resources. And secondly, water resource management. And the last but not the least, climate change and development. Professor Tanko has helped establish academic linkages and collaborations and also managed some academic programs in universities and scholarly organizations across the world. He's a fellow of numerous organizations. I will mention just a few. He's a fellow of the Royal Geographical Society with the Institute of British Geographers. He's also a fellow of the Association of Nigerian Geographers, ANG, and then also a fellow of Ron Lister Research Fellowship in New Zealand. A round of applause for Professor. Also, we have Dr. Halima A. Idris. Halima Idris is a PhD. She teaches and researches at the Department of Environmental Management, Bayero University, Kano. Another round of applause for Bayero University, Kano. Don't mind me, I know I'm being biased, but then it is what it is. Her specialization is natural resources and management and climate change. She's passionate about education, youth empowerment, environmental and good governance. She's fascinated by human behavior and how that affects their growth and development. That's Dr. Halima A. Idris. A round of applause, please, for her. And the last but not the least is Alhaji Muhammad Nasiru Wada. Alhaji Muhammad Nasiru Wada is an esteemed figure in the realms of mining entrepreneurship and corporate leadership. He's a scion of distinguished lineage, tracing back to his father, the late Inuo Wada, a prominent First Republic minister. He's born into a legacy of service and dedication. I told you I was reserving the best for the last. Alhaji Nasiru Wada is going to join them in this very powerful and diverse and inclusive panel. I had to check the balance. Yeah. Dr. Usman Anka is going to lead the conversation, and like previous panels, if you still have time, we can open it to the audience for questions and answer if you deem it fit. We have 45 minutes for this conversation. Doctor, I would hand over to you as you lead the conversation. Thank you.
It's not working. Is it?
Yes, it's coming up.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Like he said, my name is Umar Saleh Anka, and I'm blessed to be around my teachers. Professor Toko has been my level coordinator from pre-degree to my graduation. So mine is just a testing ground that I've been here. And my PhD supervisor too is with me, Professor Maharaj A. Yusuf. Please, you can stand up for recognition. He supervised me on the climate change governance, the role, the operation of state and non-state actors in climate change governance in the Sudano-Sahelian region of Nigeria. This is our passion, and this is what we have been going through. And Magajin Gari of Kano, I need not to tell you, but you need to know that he is a passionate environmentalist who has been supporting the environmental conservation. In fact, in the space of climate action, I have never seen a passionate person who uses his resources to support the country in any form. When I was posted to my first agency where we started, we initiated the issue of climate change policy supported by the FCDO. The first thing he did was he said, we are sacrificing you, you are the scapegoat. While he has a lot of things for us to do, but he said, go there, we need the institutional support. And I'm donating 100,000 seedlings for the agency. So last 2 years, he was the one that supported my entrance to the agency as a director with 100,000 seedlings for Kano State government. So, and this is what we have been doing, and this practically is born out of his resources for us to do this and other supporters, Sustainable Action for Nature and many organizations. Thank you for that. And Halima Idris, who is my sister, from the day she gets to the university till the day she became my lecturer, I have been following up on her progress. So she's pretty good in the space, and she's been writing around this area. Just to tell you that the first person to have a traditional title in climate change space is Gloria. She's the Sarauniya of climate change. I have been calling her the Green Queen right before the time she was termed as Sarauniya Climate Change. So I think the name emanated from me, and God make it happen. Myself and Gloria, we are climate reality leaders. I heard about the climate reality project, first of all from Professor Adamu Idris Tanko. When I was agitating that, I had masters in environmental management, and he promised to convert it to an MSc, not profession. He said, okay, go and pick another form and study natural resource management and climate change at MSc level, you can do it. So he has been so inspiring. So this topic is timely and is just for the people that matters. So thank you very much. As it is, it's about deforestation. So according to the United Nations, Nigeria has one of the highest deforestation rates in the world, with an estimated 3.7% of its forests lost every year. So deforestation is one of the main drivers of climate change, disrupting the natural balance of ecosystem, leading to soil erosion, loss of biodiversity, and changes in the local climate, as we can see and we are feeling. So protecting Nigeria's forests is essential not only for preserving biodiversity, but also for mitigating the climate change and ensuring a sustainable future. Gloria, in your view, what are the primary causes of deforestation in northern Nigeria, in the semi-arid region of Nigeria? Can you please help us out?
Thank you so much, Dr. Anka. But I'm used to calling you Yaya, so because he's my elder brother in the space. And good afternoon to everyone here. And let me align with the existing protocol already established. So looking at the drivers, or will I say the causes of deforestation in Nigeria, I mean, having worked with communities, and I can say that, one, it is linked to poverty. Because one, if you have a good source of livelihood and you do not have to depend on the felling of trees, but also within the felling of trees, there's a source of livelihood there. I mean, that has been established because we depend on these forest resources, one, for medicinal value. We also depend on it for energy. We also depend on it for our furnitures and a whole lot of other benefits that we have from some of these our forest resources. But then we keep felling these trees, and then you notice that over the years we keep losing these beautiful resources that God has blessed us with. And we're not just losing this, it is not just the forest trees that we're losing, we're also losing our biodiversity in terms of species that are going into extinction or are threatened in the process of that. Because the forest resources are their habitat. You can imagine if your house is demolished and you have to leave your house, you do not have a place to stay. So that means automatically you're either wandering on the streets or you move to another place. And that's displacement for some of our species, animals, birds, and a whole lot, insects. I mean, growing up, I've had the opportunity to see butterflies. And then for us coming from northern Nigeria, we usually during the rainy season, we see these termites that fly, we call it chinge. And we had that opportunity to pick some of them and fry them. It was a beautiful or a delicious delicacy at that time when we were kids. And then we see some grasshoppers and a whole lot, but we do not see them anymore. There are quite a lot of species that I can mention, but because of this forest deforestation that is happening. And so you begin to see that we're trying to look for a source of livelihood. And so it is rooted to this, our forest resources. We're also cutting and we're not replacing. So that is also leading to our, losing of all these resources that we are blessed with. We're also having issues of infrastructure development issues. While we're applauding the government for developmental, projects happening all around, but also at the same time, some of them are not really sustainable because we're losing our forest resources as a result of that. Because if you want to construct a road or you want to erect a building, you might have to clear some of these beautiful species that God has blessed us with. And then you find out that over the years, we're having all of these things, we're losing them. Climate change is another factor. We've been saying climate change everywhere. But then we should also know that, while we're having climate change is bringing the issues of drought, is bringing inconsistency in annual rainfall, and a whole lot of all those things are also contributing in us losing our forest resources. So I could go on and on and on and on to mention quite a lot that are happening, around with our forest resources. But I think I should allow other panelists the time to speak as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Green Queen. Allah ya taimake ka, magajin gari. You've been in this business supporting afforestation projects, though you are a miner. You have been like prioritizing sustainable agriculture practices for a number of years. And I know you've invested around a new project, Plant CETA, of course, supporting other projects that are within the green space. As a businessman, why prioritizing sustainable agriculture and supporting afforestation projects in northern Nigeria and beyond? Can you tell us some of your success stories and the plans for the green legacy for northern Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And this distinguished panel, I actually feel intimidated with all the doctors and professors sitting with me. Well, mine is not an academic story, it's a personal story. It goes back, at the risk of disclosing my age, 60 years plus, when I was quite a young person and could not have really understood what was going on in the world. But my late father, for whom I do most of the things in honor of, used to take me around every year when I'm on holiday on the tree planting campaign. I don't know what informed the authorities at that time to be doing that, but I'm certain that was way before climate change advocacy became fashionable. I didn't know why, but there I was, engaged in tree planting campaign. So I went away, and a lifetime later, deforestation and climate change and all the attendant negative impacts on Earth became apparent. And after, of course, I'm a half nomad, so after roaming the globe half my life, I ended up coming back home and tried to figure out what to do with the rest of my life and how to give back and contribute to climate change mitigation, and also try and also contribute to economic emancipation, the huge population we have in the rural areas. So basically that was what informed my getting into the space. This is not, I think, well, it will take maybe a day or two to recount the stories. So it's not a question of success in the form of making a profit or a commercial endeavor. The biggest success and the most pleasure is actually seeing the change that happens to the community and improvement in the well-being and outlook of the communities that we visit and try and impact through various means. Like you said, we try to amalgamate all the various aspects of social development, community inclusiveness, climate change mitigation, economic and financial inclusivity and growth, health, education, so the whole gamut. So along the way, I've met very honorable co-travelers in all the various fields I have described, and we have been designing programs and actually executing them, especially in the rural areas, by connecting the diverse linkages that addresses climate change, agriculture, well-being of the community. They're all interconnected, and unless you address them holistically, you will fail if you're trying to address the problem individually. So we've had support from, of course, the academics who will go and do their stuff, but we do it mainly with gut feeling and what we see on the ground. So, but alhamdulillah, we come up with programs and solutions, and at the end of the day, we hand it over to the academics, and they validate and agree with most of what we have suggested. But without them, we won't be able to design the programs effectively. So we have our friends from Rwanda today. I went to Kigali on a half business, half climate change visit, and we met. And it was an eye-opener for me, seeing what they're doing there in Kigali, in Rwanda, and reflecting on where we are here in Nigeria, and especially in Kano. And that was what led to me inviting them to come to Kano, and let's try and see how we can start this process of advocating for climate justice locally. Because unless we address the fundamental issues at the rural level, I think it's a road to nowhere. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Picking from what you said, the holistic approach to all these problems, providing solution. Sir Prop, you have been involved in a number of researches, projects in Nigeria and beyond. So, if I want to ask, what do you think are the bottlenecks from the policy angle to collaboration between, say, state and non-state actors in addressing or trying to mitigate the issue of deforestation? Are there policy gaps? If there are, what can we do to have, like he said, holistic approach where not theoretical, but just practical approach to collaboration and making sure that government actors understand that private sector, the academia could co-create to save the planet. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Anka. Truly, you're one of my students that always make me so happy, so proud. When you were here, and of course, Sufi, you made me so happy. On this particular matter, many people normally would want to talk about policy. And I always draw attention to the fact that our policies have no problems. Ambassador Safia talked about it a short while ago. We have excellent policies. If you look at the policy on environment as a whole, or if you particularly come to look at the policy on forestry, as far as Nigeria is concerned, you will come to see that so much has actually been provided. What I'm looking for when you're dealing with policy is to see that the particular matter you're projecting is met. As far as this is concerned, yes, the clear understanding of the requirements for forest is there. We need trees, and they are implemented, and they are provided. We've just heard about the tree planting campaign, which was like an annual event. The entire Kano Emirate used to have it. And you could all recall the MC a short while ago also was talking about the numerous trees we had within our compounds, along our streets. How many of us could remember the mahoganies that we had from Kofar Nasarawa here, right up to Zaria? We had them both sides. And where are they today? They are never there, and nobody is talking about them. So as far as the policy is concerned, it's not a thing that started from 1960. It's actually a thing that has always been there in our lives. So as far as our policies are concerned, they have helped us. That's why we have the different ministries, the different departments, the different establishments, all our institutions, and we always talk about them. In the universities, we always talk about the needs. And whenever you're talking about trees, you know where to go to. So it's because the policies are there. The legal angle is also provided within the policy. The community participation is always, look at the policy. The first one that we had actually was formalized in 1988 when we had these clear environmental issues, starting with the crisis we had in the Bendel area, you remember, for those of you who could still remember. So, and then for the forestry policy, we had review. The last one was in 2006, and it's very clear. So most of this, as far as the policies is concerned, I always don't see problem. Our key problem is actually to do with the enforcement. Things are provided for, and the penalties are spelled, but nobody is there to enforce them. Very few months ago, I think just about 2-3 months ago, I accompanied our students to Niger Republic, to Agadez. For those of you who are familiar with the terrain, from Kano to Agadez is like a transect. You go right straight up to the north. And then you can clearly, I think I drew the attention of the students who were with us. We said, what you do is just look at the density and the density and the availability of trees that you have right from Kano to Agadez. Agadez is about 900 kilometers away from Kano, for those of you who are to the north. And there, you would come to see that in Kano, you would have, the density is so low, unfortunately. Up to the time that you get to the border, Nigeria-Niger border, the moment you get there, then the density begins to improve. You would have more trees. And of course, they are more luxuriant. If you're talking about only the case of climate change, the expectation from each and every one of us is that the density and the variety and whatever of the tree should be decreasing. But because in Niger, you dare not touch any one tree. You dare not do that. To cut down a tree is like you are actually trying to kill a person. You know the difficulty that one go into. And for that, trees are there, they are available, and people see them. And right up to where you as many, but because of certainly the environment, there may not be as many, but the protection is there. You know, it's provided for. And these are the sort of things. But the key thing is we have just talked about lack of enforcement. And we also need to talk about what the first speaker, the Saraunia, has just spoken about, this clear case of poverty. Yes, I don't have much, and I think this is an opportunity for me. I cut it down. Nobody is there to protect it. And many of you are familiar with a paper we had written many years ago, Descending the Energy Ladder. We particularly put the case of Kanu. Over time, we have been descending. By energy ladder, we mean when the first speakers were talking, they talked about the provision of gas, electricity, kerosene, and down there is the trees. We have been descending. If any one of you should rely on electricity for the provision of his household energy need, you know that is a fallacy. You can never get it. And then, of course, from electricity, you come down to gas, you come down to kerosene, you come down. The last bit is actually for us to go down to the trees that we have around us, and of course, the charcoal. And that is where we are. So in the 60s, those of you who were there, you know, certainly the availability of electricity was higher than when, and later, in the 80s, we began to have it, 90s, and look at where we are. Even here, they said the rich is also, and this is where we are. And from the time we started in the morning to this time around, I think we went off electricity how many times? 5 times. Even in this place, where you are properly covered, you know you have a standby generator, but the provision of electricity is not certain. And I think that is our case. And that is why, for you and I, we normally have to go down to what is available to us. And what is available at any point in time is the tree. And the tree, we cut it down. Nobody charges us for anything. And nobody replaces whatever he cuts down. It's important. I think this we can take a look at. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Looking at the policy gap, I don't want to be biased. I just realized that all of us here are from Bayero University. And for what he has said about Agadas, I know Professor Maharaj took us to Agadas, that's why you're laughing. And we've looked through all those things. And recently, Professor Maharaj, I think, presented a paper on the Kano Agadas Strategic Action Plan. And another coincidence is Magajingari made me to trek from Dutse to Maradi, trying to create a green corridor for the Kano-Maradi Rail Line project, which is a stretch of 285 or 87 kilometers. We checked 380 kilometers from Dutse to Maradi. We trekked down, trying to assess and stratify to create an economic corridor, a green corridor, to compensate the loss of the biodiversity in the Kano Maradi Rail Line project. So two things are happening. One, there are corridors that once they have been activated, we don't want a situation where we would have a rail line project from Kano to Maradi, it will just be the rail track. But we just want to have an active, green and active corridor. This is the project we are working on right now. So there are active and non-active corridors which are trying to be reactivated. We have Lakaji corridor, which somebody somewhere still with support of Magajingari, we are working around bringing it back with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture to see how issue of conflict, insecurity, and poverty is going to be addressed. So these are the things that Dr. Halima, you have been teaching sustainability, energy. So, and if I could remember, you are the chairperson of the Urban Tree Revivals Initiative. Is there a future for the younger generation in the green space? And how has the journey gone so far with you and the student? And what are probably the challenges and the success stories? Thank you.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to be part of this high-profile panel. Thank you very much, Yaya, for that question. So far, we do engage with the youths, especially since I teach at the Bayero University. I've had the opportunity to train, to advocate for climate awareness, climate justice, and sustainability over the years. And we have incorporated a number of projects with students, especially around the development of clubs and societies. I have had the opportunity to work with enactors, then SIFE, Students in Free Enterprise. Today it's Entrepreneurship Action Us. I've worked with students for over 13 years, and many of the projects have always been around sustainability and at the same time economic empowerment. So there are success stories, a lot of them. And just 2 weeks ago, our undergraduate students at level 2 approached me for a project, which they said was informed by one of the lectures that we had. And they wanted to do some tree planting within the campus. And they wanted to speak with the head of department then to come up with a strategy to implement that. So these are ways in which we've been able to engage the youths, but not just at the high institution level. We've also had the opportunity to work with students at the secondary school level as well, where clubs and societies have been formed and students are actively participating in especially tree planting. But when we look at issues around climate justice, it's not just about the deforestation aspect, there's also the issues around solid waste management, which we have been able to also advocate and train students, and not just the students at secondary or higher institutions, but also people in government and other agencies that are into issues around climate change and sustainability. We've trained them on how to actually advocate for climate awareness, train others to train the trainee to be able to do all of these things within the context of climate change. And you said issues around the success so far, which are the clubs so far, and the children and the students are doing very well. There are challenges. And some of the major challenges are usually around funding. And I think especially when we know issues around having tree seedlings, and if we're going to go down to indigenous trees, which I say are the most important species of trees for our environment, because they are the trees that are most adaptable to our environment and our climatic setting, which we have lost many over the years due to deforestation. So having access to these seedlings itself is challenging, and requiring funding for that is also challenging. And then there's also the issue around government policies too. some of our policies are very good, but the issues of educating at a very young age, and I would want to say that it should go down the ladder, not just at the higher institution, secondary school, but also right from primary education. So when we begin to inculcate this feeling of sustainability and protecting the environment, even within the children themselves, they grow up with such mindsets and go ahead to protect the environment. So these are some of the challenges that we're facing, and I feel each and every one of us here has a role to play, and it's very important that we keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
This is great, working with youth. Of course, this is what we are looking at, sustainability, and of course, catching them young. Looking at the time, Green Queen, you've had an engagement with NCF and other organizations who has been supporting your organization, Bridge That Gap initiative. So how has that, in just a few lines, how effective is the role of non-state actors in mitigating issue that has to do with deforestation and sustainability? Has it been a blessing or a curse? So in just a few lines.
Very much, Anka. So it's been a blessing walking around, building partnerships. Now, in addressing the issues of climate change, it requires all hands must be on deck because of, if you look at our different vulnerabilities to the impacts of climate change. And that is why the new FCDO-funded project PACE is looking at the whole of society approach, where everyone, the academia, the media, the government come, and then we propose solution. It's all about solutions. And so the civil society play a very huge role in terms of addressing issues of deforestation. We're talking about issues of climate justice in this room. And so we are the ones that can push for that climate justice, but there has to be an understanding with also the government partners, the private sector, and all of that to come together and understand this and provide solution. And that is why in all that we do, we have to work together as partners, not as enemies or as anything, but as partners, bringing in the solutions. Our experience as civil society is different from the experience of the government and even our development partners, academia, media, and a whole lot of all stakeholders. And when we come, civil society stand as more like a bridge to be able to bridge the gap between the government and then also the citizens. At times when you go to communities, you hear citizens say there's that resistance. But when we come together, we cement that relationship, we solidify that relationship. So it's been a positive relationship. It's been a win-win for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor, talking about the co-creation between government, civil society, and private sector, is there a way to address this problem with a local solution, indigenous knowledge, or do we need to incentivize our strategies to mitigating this impact of climate change or deforestation, or are we at the point of no return? Thank you.
Okay. In climate change, many times we talk about points of no return. In reality, it's a point that is attainable, but it's difficult. People have a way by which they develop some level of resilience. And environment actually has this element of resilience in itself. Some few months ago, about a year ago, I think a particular video clip went viral. And it was showing a kind of preempting how the world could be if all lives are lost. It will begin to show that Kano, the whole of Kano City, as we have it, is going to be taken over by very dense forest. And I think many of us might have, if you can recall, just about a year ago, it went so viral. Most of the cities of the world, I'm just talking about Kano because that's what it is. People used huge cities like New York, and you could see how the whole lot of the New York is actually going to be taken over by very dense forest. That is the element to which the environment is actually so resilient. So getting to that particular point of no return is something that, yes, one can talk about them, but it's difficult. But the key thing that I think the key to your question is this element of coming together, the government, the community, and the government and community. Yes, it's important. We actually have a way by which we come in. We began to talk about policy, and we said in the policy, there was the element of community participation in managing environment, in managing our forestry resources. But even when it is provided for by the policy, we just don't actualize it. The community is left alone, and the government is left alone. You have just told us about the contribution of Magajingeri. You are contributing as a person. The government institutions are supposed to have done most of what you're doing. But we feel like individuals, if you so like, because of your passion, because of your understanding, go and contribute. The government institutions, even when they know that this is so important, they just do not contribute. I think that is what we are going to. I have two projects that I always talk about. They are in my mind. First, when I was teaching in the secondary school some times ago, I was teaching in a girls' secondary school, and people assume girls are such a group of people that could hardly work in the environment. And I was there as a geography teacher, and I looked at our environment. The area of their hostel looked so open to me, and I felt that was not so good. And I said to the girls, let's do something. I had to go to the local government office, and I sought for seedlings, 3 seedlings. And I said to the girls, using our Islamic background, I said to the girls that, okay, it's part of hadith, that if you plant a tree, it's actually Sadaqat Jariyah. You would continue to reap out of it for eternity. And it's up to you. I gave them the seedlings, and I encouraged each one of them to just take one. Just go and plant it. We selected the site, and they've all planted one. And I said, if there is no water, if you want to perform ablution, come under it and perform your ablution. You have watered it, and by God, over time, even when I left the place, I realized that the trees actually grew so huge. They protected the cover of the hostel area. And then the girls became so proud of them. Whenever they got onto the school, they would make sure they visited their own trees. They were so proud. And then at Bayero University, for many of you who knew, we had a new faculty. And I happened to be the pioneer dean of that faculty. I sought for seedlings. At first, I went for 1,000 seedlings, and I got them. And I said to the students, volunteers, including the teachers, I said, whoever wanted to plant a tree, come and pick just one. And I called it like a program of 1 student, 1 tree. I asked them not to take 2. And we even encouraged the vice chancellor then to come and plant. The Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, all of them came. They planted just one seedlings. And I said to each and every one of them, come and water it every day. Just one tree. It's not beyond you. And we did. And by God, today our faculty is one of the best faculties with the highest number of tree stands. When we started, there was almost nothing. But alhamdulillah, I think we got it. So these are the sort of things, the strategies that we are going to. If you have local councils, and then you actually have this sort of drives in you, you should be able to make it in such a way that you incentivize. The incentives there is not like we are giving out money, but okay, we are using the hadiths, is our belief. And of course, many people use it, and then of course, this is where we are, and I think we have done well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Looking at the time, and I know Nigeria, we are in a data poverty stage. Do you think, Halima, Dr. Halima, that you are documenting all your activities and the indigenous knowledge? Do you think the research at civil society level you are conducting, the documentation could help in maybe preparing solution in terms of the nature-based solution through indigenous knowledge? But just, we are out of time. Just, you can address that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, certainly. Indigenous knowledge is being documented from the researches that we're carrying out. Recently, I was opportune to participate in one of the researches that had to do with the farmer-herder pastoralist conflicts that actually emanate as a result of the loss of many of these grazing reserves as well as forest reserves. And we know that these forest reserves are where our trees are. So one of the things that many of them were talking about were how these forests served various purposes. 1, food. 2, medicine. 3, stabilizing the microclimate of that environment. 4, issues around drought and issues around erosion as well. So recently, many of them have been able to identify certain tree species that are very good at all of these services that I have just mentioned, or taking care of some of these problems. And so we've been able to document those trees, which are mainly indigenous trees. That was why I mentioned earlier the importance of these indigenous trees. And I feel at this point, that is where our focus should be, since already we have a clear understanding of the sort of solutions, in fact, community-based solutions that would help with issues around deforestation. So it's good that we begin to invest in that at the government level, at the non-governmental organizations, as well as the civil society. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Finally, Allah Temekeka, you've been in this, like you said, it's not about making profit. It's about passion and probably the orientation, like you said. But now, how can we finally, because you really want to close, how can we strengthen trust and ownership among communities when designing and implementing this deforestation or regenerative projects in terms of acceptability and sustainability? Thank you.
Maybe I should command you to give a 2-hour lecture on what we're doing to answer your question. I'm glad the panelists have actually touched on these issues. I'll start with Professor Tanko. When you mentioned community involvement and the fact that asked your students to plant and own a tree and look after it, nurture it, etc. I've not had the pleasure of meeting you before today, but one of the things that Green Legacy has come up with is actually to advocate for custodianship of any tree planting that you do. It's not a matter of planting the tree, but every tree has to have an owner. That owner has to be invested in that tree. I think I've been having debates with the Great Green Wall project for more than 10 years as to the importance of community development. So my earlier experiences must have informed how I evolved and ended up with these current programs that we're running. Public policy is one thing. Implementing it is another. I come from the private sector. I'm profit-oriented. So whatever I do, I apply that matrix to it. So this year, we've revived the tree planting campaign with His Highness Muhammadu Sunusi II, the Emir of Kano. We're going around every district, and he is the one planting the first tree. And then we have a program with Aliko Dangote University, not Bayero, but I think we will work on that, where we have the entire Faculty of Agriculture and Natural Sciences working with us and giving all the students field experience. So, Dr. Halima, we have also married the traditional tree planting with up-to-date, state-of-the-art programs that we have developed indigenously, softwares whereby every tree has an identity. It is geolocated. It has a custodian. And we provide other related linkages, like banking them, showing them why they need to be invested in that tree. If you show the person, because you have to treat him as if he's investing, it's a company. He is going to benefit, if it's a banana tree, in less than a year. If it's a hybrid mango, in 2 to 3 years, oranges, whatever, you can name it. Once you do that to them, and the whole community is involved, like I said, the Emirate Council, the Emir has embarked on the statewide tour in all what they used to call Rangadi in the old days, to all the districts. So the district head will convene all the village heads and the ward heads and the people of the town. And he will start, by example, by planting his tree. So when you show a farmer or an individual that in 2 to 3 years, a cluster of 5 or 10 trees can actually sustain him for the 6 months that he's not earning any income, and maybe even help educate his child, keep him healthy, etc. So those are the kind of things we are bringing together at our level. And I'm glad to say we have been getting a lot of interest on what we're doing, and we look forward to future collaborations with you and your depth of experience and knowledge. And this matter of from Jibia from the border to Agadez, and Dr. Anke is actually telling the absolute truth. He had to walk that 380 kilometers with quite a few people alongside. So the aim is to have that kind of continuous corridor from Dutse and all the way to Maradi, because we figure that is also a means of bringing economic and even industrial development. Every tree has a value. Every single tree has a value. As Doctor said, medicinal, for food, for energy. So if the communities are invested and everybody is taken along, they will protect each other, protect it on behalf of themselves and the wider community. That also promotes community cohesion. And I think, Prof, we ought to write a draft law for maybe passing a death sentence on people who cut down trees, because cutting down a tree is as good as cutting down a life, because you don't know how many people that single tree can sustain in its lifetime. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. To this end, looking at the topic itself, advancing Pan-African climate justice through local action and representation, which the conversation started in Kigali last year. The team are there, myself and the Magajengari. And if you look at what is up there is the Nigerian Climate Justice Alliance, which is an offshoot of the Global Alliance, and a few organizations here, like Bridge That Gap, Sustainable Action for Nature, the NCF, are part of the alliance. So we would use this opportunity to advocate for more inclusion towards addressing climate justice in Nigeria, and probably with US Anchor Foundation, who are dealing with indigenous community in Africa. So this Nigerian Climate Justice Alliance, I think, can partner to amplify this talk, not only in northern part of the country, but across board, because like we've been taught in the class that climate change starts locally, but it has a global impact. It's pandemic. So I think we've learned, and we want to sincerely thank the panelists. We can do it and do it until tomorrow or next tomorrow, because we have the experts on it. I want to say thank you for your patience. And of course, we run out of time, but there's a community that cannot be ignored. Someone from the people with special need want to say a word. Malam Hamza, we would allow you to contribute. We know we are talking about justice and vulnerability. So I think we are taking one just from the people with special need. I saw his hand there. He cannot come down. You can just get to him. We can just take only 1 minute. Please, Hamza, it's just go straight to the point. It doesn't have to be the nomenclature, but we will get the point straight and work on that. So for others, you can just write your observations and say it in writing.
Just 1 minute. Well then, my name is Hamza Issa Bafa, a Northwest Zonal Coordinator, Global Disability Green Initiative. I have been expecting to hear one sector from our panelists, which is using of papers. You know, a lot of papers are produced by trees. Let's look at our primaries, secondaries, to tertiary institutions. Among 20 and 30 million generation of population we have in Nigeria. Let's just say like we have 100 million students. Each one student use like 10 books. And these books are produced as a result of deforestation. What do you think we can start using to digitalize our offices, like our classes to be digital? When you go to the hospitals, doctors use files, papers, examination from common entrance to tertiary institution examination are always on paper. For example, now in university, the exam should be digitalized. But when you say that, they will start asking you, what about malpractice? Yeah, that is the time cybersecurity should be think about. I'm asking, how can it be solved? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think in one of the presentations by the Magajin Gari, he has mentioned something like digitalizing the whole thing. And at Green Legacy, I think he pointed out that we have a digital tool team. So I think we are working around that, and this is a good observation that needs to be considered. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anka and the wonderful panelists. Yes, we take pictures. I would still also invite Isabel and Mr. William also. Could you join them? Yes, one last time. This is the last panel. Okay.
SEMS, we're building an MVP that integrates carbon tracking and environmental impact reporting to ensure that critical minerals are sourced ethically. And our solution empowers local communities to meet OECD, ESG, and SDG standards and reshape the energy transition to one that is not only green, but just and sustainable. At scale, Genesis One will transform the global sourcing of critical minerals by enabling transparent, traceable, and sustainable supply chains, driving corporate governance and ESG adherence. In Nigeria alone, the federal government estimates about $3 billion worth of critical minerals. Last slide, former slide. Critical minerals leaves the country undocumented each year, siphoned by foreign non-state actors, fueling terrorism, displacement, and poverty. Our platform creates an auditable chain of custody, unlocking access to international markets for ASMs and climate finance while ensuring corporate and government compliance with ESG metrics. Having worked with ASMs myself for over 3 years now, I've seen firsthand how the lack of transparency and licensing has devastated the sector. And I believe Genesis One will sanitize the sector and will be a game changer. With Genesis One, we'll formalize 30,000 ASMs by creating safer working conditions and generating new jobs. Through carbon tracking, we estimate preventing over 500,000 tons of CO2 annually through incentivized sustainable mining and restore the dignity of communities. We're currently launching our pilot next month, onboarding thousands of artisanal miners in Nigeria using an inclusive, low-barrier technology infrastructure, even where future phones can be used by artisanal small-scale miners. Leveraging on blockchain and satellite imagery and IoT systems, we will track the provenance of minerals from mine to market. This will be the first time such visibility and transparency is brought to Nigeria's mineral supply chain by enabling buyers, responsible buyers in particular, to be able to source ethically while restoring dignity and fair pricing. And with verified data, we'll open access to finance for ASMs, de-risking artisanal small-scale mining investment in Africa for the first time, which has been a major bottleneck. And with your support from CCJ and Green Legacy, we'll be able to do this, and this will be a catalyst for a movement that's going to make massive moves in Africa. And this isn't just a tech solution. This is a path to protect lives, restore ecosystems, and ensure that Africa's mineral wealth fuels a truly just energy transition. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ubaid. All right, from IoTs, we are going to, the next startup will be Cleanup Wave. So they are building an ecosystem where household and businesses can schedule a pickup for their waste, and in return, they will get a reward, and they can spend that reward on actual essential goods. So give it up for Cleanup Wave.
It's clean wave, not clean off wave. Good evening, afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Few years ago, my co-founder and myself were just local scavengers, buying waste from the locals and channeling it to bigger industries in Sharaɗa. Later on, we realized that we can do better. We can include climate change. We can include technology. And that was how CleanWave started. That was how we made the difference at CleanWave. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you through and tell you more about CleanWave. CleanWave is a waste tech startup on a mission of revolutionizing how waste is collected, sorted, and rewarded in Nigeria. Unfortunately, here in Nigeria, many people view waste as a burden, as a problem, while in other first-class countries, it is a source of wealth and source of energy. CleanWave Recycling Nigeria Limited is trying to upgrade, update, change the narrative of how waste is seen in Kano, in Arewa, in Nigeria, and Africa at large. We have built an ecosystem where we bring in together vendors, agents, households, and users that they can benefit financially through our application. Next slide. Here is the problem we are solving. According to the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Nigeria faces a severe waste problem, generating 32 million tons of waste. Unfortunately, 70% of this waste is not properly recycled, is not properly collected. And what happened after this? This gave birth to environmental degradation, health hazard, missed economic opportunities, and of course, climate change. Rising global temperature, negative impact on agriculture and food security. But what matters is the panacea, the antidote, the solution, and this is what we are looking for. We have built a platform, a CleanWave application, where a person can use it to request a pickup for his waste. This kind of bottled water, sachet, or any other kind of waste. An agent will be sent to him to weigh the waste and allocate points to him. Through those points, the person can redeem the points in the e-commerce platform. And the good thing is, this application is live on Play Store. We have launched it, and it's going well. So, this is one of the ways we are trying to curb with the problem of waste in Kano and beyond. Secondly is the community engagement. Through CleanWave, we are not just about selling waste or waste in general. We are trying to engage communities, trainings, workshops, seminars, letting them know that you have to turn your waste into wealth. There is every chance for you to turn waste into wealth. And also the climate change programs. Through the CleanWave business, we have partnered with many schools so that we can create green clubs to educate and train students on how to deal with the problem of waste. Next slide. CleanWave Recycling Nigeria Limited is just, we are not just recycling waste. We are revolutionizing the way Nigeria manages waste, combats climate change, and also make a greener economy. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Clean Wave. You have to pardon me for mispronouncing your name. And I hope I pronounced the next one right. The final startup is Oikos International, or Oikos Kano, which is a branch of Oikos International. It is a student-led initiative that is doing well in the climate change environment. Please welcome Oikos Kano.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mariam Sadiq Wali, and I'm going to be speaking for Oikos Kano. And as rightly introduced, Oikos Kano is our local chapter of the international organization, which is Oikos International, a student-led initiative which focuses on economic management and sustainability in general. So our local chapter is stationed at Bayero University, Kano, and basically what we are is a student-led organization that focuses and works on the integration of sustainability into academia, and also in finding how the integration and the correlation of climate and education and sustainability and generally youth leadership development. So, yes. So, well, when it comes to, boldly we'll say in our region that climate change is both visible and invisible. And I say that because it is visible in the way that temperature is rising. It is visible in the way that we have floods everywhere. It's visible in the fact that there is food insecurity that we do not give a lot of emphasis to, but then it is also invisible in the literal sense that too many youth have no idea what to do about climate change. Too many youth are so uninterested and disconnected from what it really means. So, this is exactly what it is we're presenting, our solution. The next slide. The Oikos Garden Project. And this is what we bring as the solution, literally going back to the roots and putting our hands in the soil, which is climate, education, and sustainability hub rooted in sustainability and community management. What it basically is a campus-based garden and a climate hub that brings the green space literally back to students to learn, to engage, and to lead when it comes to climate. So our garden is going to be a living system, a living classroom where people grow in the green, in the ideal space for learning about nature, in the space where students get to engage, students plant, compost waste, and also grow ideas and also actualize them. So the green space is going what we plan for the space, for the garden, is an environmental education workshops, and we have sustainability, agricultural demonstrations, tree planting, and waste reduction. What we're doing is we're not only building a garden for the scenery or for the greenery. What we want to do is to really bring it. And the intention is we plan to raise awareness and to build and engage youth, over 5,000 students, on environmental education and engagement, and also to really train at least 100 students on climate, to raise climate leaders annually. And also we want to integrate green-based sustainability models, the courses that are focused on the impact and the literal the impact and focus-oriented. And we want to have a community of students that fully engage, that focus on getting it done rather than the knowledge only. So yes, we're not only going to be speaking about it, we are doers, not only dreamers. And that's what we have done so far. We have within Bayero University our supported and granted space, garden space, to implement our project, to implement the garden space. And already we're in the process of initiating the course curriculum and the content that's going to guide the workshops that we're going to be delivering, and something that would complement, not supplement, the university curriculum. And then we have an active team, the Oikos Kano team, and also supported by international insights, localized into our context by the Oikos International. And then we have a very strong collaboration and engagement with the Center for Gender Studies for the institutional buy-in and for the curriculum building. And then we have our proposals developed, our partnerships details, all fully ready for implementation. Now with that, what we're next doing is only seeking support in putting the implementation into action. And we have all these set in place practically to have that done. And what we want to build is basically a garden space that teaches students by students with a curriculum that goes to the root of impact rather than going around theory, and one that trains a large number of people to come out as experts in sustainability and in climate change. The next slide. So in conclusion, we would say that our initiative, this garden that we have, is what brings sustainability into action. It is what gives life to sustainability in campuses. And it doesn't do so in isolation, but it honors traditional wisdom on how nature is interpreted, only integrating modern innovation into it. So basically, in conclusion, if we want climate justice in Africa, what we need to do, we must start with climate ownership. And this is, our garden is exactly what represents that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And I hope that this would somehow open the doors for collaborations, support in the ecosystem. As you can see, if I can recall, when we decided to have this innovation showcase for the summit and the policy launch tomorrow, we reached out to the community, and I think we got around 18 to 20 people trying to come and showcase their initiatives and startups. But then we had to choose 6 because of the time factor. So Kano is really doing a lot when it comes to climate change, and it's very obvious that we are being affected by climate change every day. So it's time for all of us to take action, not just have conversations all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, the team at Startup Kano, and also the presenters, the 3 presenters. It's really amazing to see things like this happening in Kano at this time. Remember, some 10, 15 years ago, if you would tell someone that in the future, for you to dispose your refuse, you would have to go into an application to call a vendor or a company to do that, we would say this is not possible. Some 15 years ago, even 10 years ago. But it is already happening with Clean Wave, and I'm sure this is just a fraction of the many innovations that are coming to climate and sustainability in Kano State. Many people are doing amazing things, and there's this imperative, there's a moral imperative for us to support these initiatives to ensure that they are sustainable, one, and we scale them also. Thank you so much, Startup Kano team. Ladies and gentlemen, the next item on our agenda is climate justice workshop. But I have been informed that we're going to skip that for now. Not really skipping, but then instead of that, we're going to take reflections, because what we are going to do during the workshop is to break out into 3 groups and discuss on 3 key topics that relate to the panel discussions and other cross-cutting issues like technology and others. But for that, in the best interest of time, since it's already getting late in the afternoon, we want to do a reflection session for about 15, 20 minutes. And so the workshop, it's still going to happen, but we're going to postpone it to later today at 6 p.m. We're still here till 6, right? Okay, we're moving the workshop to tomorrow. I'm sure many of us here have received an invitation for climate change policy launch tomorrow. Tomorrow. So the workshop is going to happen, is going to be part of the activities at the climate change policy launch tomorrow. So what we are going to do now is to have a reflection session for about 15 to 20 minutes before we close the session with remarks. We'll share the details of the event before we close the venue and the time for those that haven't yet received an invitation. But it's happening tomorrow, and it's going to start early in the morning also. So to lead us in this reflection session, I'm going to invite Dr. Anka one more time to lead this reflection session. I had earlier mentioned that we want to achieve 2 things with this summit, like the key things we want to achieve. One is to ensure we discuss and bring out community empowerment and community-led solutions as they relate to climate change. And then secondly, to ensure that, because we can't get there alone, we can't work in silos. Different units and agencies of government and different private sector organizations and also project development sector projects are doing things around climate. But there is, at this point, at this critical juncture that we are at, there's need for synergy, there's need for collaboration, there's need for partnership. And that is one of the things we want out of this summit. From the panelists and our moderators to people in government here and to organized private sector and even civil society organizations, I want us to use this platform. What Green Legacy and Center for Climate Justice is doing is to provide this platform for us to come and leverage, to come and partner, to collaborate as we work towards these solutions. So what we're going to do in the reflection session, it's not going to be it's not a Q&A session, it's just reflection. And what we are focused at is, based on the discussions that have happened in the morning, from the keynote to the 3 panels and to the presentations and exhibitions by the 3 startups, what solutions do we see? What solutions do we see? And what role can we play? And what would be the next steps? So keep in mind, keep at the back of your mind that whatever you're saying is going to go into our report, is going to go into our communique, and is also going to inform direction, like a policies direction and solution, a direction out of this event. Dr. Anka, I would invite you to the podium to lead us in this session. Please, its contribution, next steps, and what our responsibilities would be as we chart the way out as it affects climate change. Thank you, Dr. Anka. Over to you.
Thank you, Ahmed. I remain a humble student and with full responsibility of what I'm doing in my research. I want to say thank you for being patient and being enthusiastic about what we're doing. It's just to say that everyone, like we said, environmental problem affects the rich, the poor, not only the vulnerable. Everyone is vulnerable in terms of climate change impact. So, okay. Let's do it this way. And we want to give a fair representation. We have academia, we have private sector, we have civil society organization, and of course, we have traditional institutions. So, I know we are now converting our ATP to ADP. Glycolysis is already taking place. Everybody is splitting his or her sugar molecules. For the biology students would understand what I'm talking about. Can we take 5, or do we allow everyone to make reflection? We can have representation from constituencies, private sector 1, academia, traditional institution, and private sector. The youths, of course, they are inclusive, they belong to all. Okay, Ambassador Sepia, the youths and the people with special needs, inclusion, I always consider that they are for all the constituencies, actually. You are the one that is even marginalizing yourselves. So for me, I actually consider youth, the people with special need, in all honesty, that whenever we have a grouping, I always say we should not have a group for just these people. And you could remember last week I said, let's co-create. I don't want, they feel, for me, I would say they are just being marginalized. So we will start from the academia.
Okay, I think if we could take numbers, let's have numbers. So
Okay.
who and who, okay, I already have one from there, sorry.
Yes, from
we already,
Package.
I already made a promise, so
Yeah.
that is 1. So sir, you are number 2.
He's just co-creating because he has been persistent about that department. So, and I acknowledge that he would allow him to speak. But please, looking at the time, we would just take just straightforward comment in just 2 minutes so that we can have many people contribute to it. So, yeah.
Yes, okay, so that's 3 representing young people, either 50 or 60. Yeah, okay, young people, so we have traditional institution, we have academia, young people, okay, you in red, 3. I've not seen women, okay, women, so that's 4. So I'll follow that cadence based on your number. 4, the 5th and the last.
There's somebody that, Dr. Adogarba, which one are you coming from?
The oligarch.
Okay, let me start from the,
That's fine.
let me start from the traditional institution, then come back to academia, then private sector. So please, let's go straight to the point because of the time.
Mr. Chairman, good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
And please, the self-introduction.
My name is Abdullahi Ismail Bagachika. Mr. Chairman and my colleagues here, I went through these discussions and I noticed something that touches me. You cannot talk about climate justice and green environment without talking about green energy. And what is green energy? Reducing carbon emission in all our energy enterprise. 2013, there was an initiative surveys, and we discovered something. Using what we have to reduce this carbon emission through the use of gas, normal cooking gas. And we discovered that it was the initial entry that is difficult for people at villages. So what we do, we went to various companies, we asked them to do a social responsibility through offering free gas cylinders. We gathered a lot of cylinders. I can't mention roughly about 10,000 cylinders, empty cylinders. We went from villages to villages, door to door. We asked you, please, do you want to use this one? Yes. We gathered the whole of the villages, and then we asked them to do maybe what do you call it, balloting. Once they do balloting, we give them. And that is what now drove the federal government to start AKK project down to north. That initiative was the main driving force that started AKK project, Abuja, Kaduna, Kano, gas initiative. So, please, I will plead with the chairman and the environmentalists here that you need to drive in gas usage in villages if you want to sustain what you are doing, because you cannot ask them to stop cooking. You can't ask them to stop cooking. You can't ask somebody to stop eating. So what do? Give him an alternative. And the best alternative is to give him what he will use to cook. Either maybe through stoves that will use less wood, or alternatively give him gas, and the entry should be at a low cost. That is one. The second thing that I wanted to write, I wish the Commissioner for Environment is here. Because if you notice from 1994 to date, the amount of garbage that we have now in Kano, plastic garbage, please, use it in your recommendation to the government. Let it reduce whatever way it wants to use to reduce garbage in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Unless you bring people together, then you know who are the shadow government. Many people are the drivers of a lot of projects. You will not know how it started. You only see it, and you may not really even value it. Thank you very much for the contribution. Then we are going to Professor Maraz A. Yusuf for his contribution from the academia.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. As academics, we are in the midst of our colleagues and, of course, our students. What I would like to say is that in the academics, we have a lot of researches we had and we are having. The major problems we have is how do we scale these recommendations and what have you in the, we have a lot of it. Issues in climate change, climate justice, carbon emission, and what have you. We have a lot of it. In fact, let me give you a simple example. I had a student, a lady for that matter, who actually researched into carbon differential in Kano municipality. Carbon differential, which is very important, is a key issue in climate change and what have you. And we discover a lot of things. Let me share a little of what we have. We found that issue of gas and fuel wood or firewood is even cheaper to use gas than fuel wood, especially in this era. Yes, but the major problem we have is this. The initial capital, as it was said actually by one of this session, the initial capital. I can hear even the last speaker is talking about the distribution of cylinder. Yes, of course, initial career. You can think of somebody not only in the rural areas, even in the city, somebody who is, I mean, I don't want to call it poor, who is not looking for 2,000, 1,000. You can't think of that person to start or at least purchase something of 10,000 for him to start. But actually, as a matter of fact, it's cheaper. So what I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of research. This is one of them, as a matter of fact. And the second issue, I heard that we talk about the tree planting or the planting of trees. Yes, I'm happy Professor Tonko talk about actually the scheme in maintaining the tree that is planted. Because one of the things in our researches that we were able to find is that in the former system of tree planting, in which sometimes, I'm sorry, the government has stopped doing that it is not launched until September. That is the end of the rainy season, which is not effective. I'm happy that now the government is no longer doing such kind of thing. It's not an issue of, I understand that tree planting is an advocacy. Yes, that is one. But you find that, let me just go to what we were able to find in the research is that if you nurse 1 million trees as nurseries, how many that survived? That is 1 year. We found that, in fact, as a matter of fact, most of the nurseries that were distributed and what have you, hardly 7% survived that year. Almost 93% are lost. So what happened? So as a matter of fact, what actually happened is that some of them that are donated, or they are given to schools, or they are given to some individuals, they end up just being wasted. That is one. So what we discover is this. The time frame, there should be a change in the strategy, as a matter of fact, in the way to manage these trees. So it's not an issue of actually having just tree to plant, but really, how do you manage it? So meaning that if the government and of course NGOs, they can have a way, for example, giving a tree, give incentive, be it social or economic, that we want you to manage this tree for 1 year. Manage this particular tree for 1 year, and this is your reward. Something definitely, if it is done that way, it will help a lot. Another simple last example I will. In fact, we had this problem in our own area. That is where I relocated. We wanted to plant trees. So what we did is, this is an engagement. In fact, one professor and myself, we invited all the youth and even the small boys in the area. We engaged them in the planting of the trees in the area. So surprisingly, you find that these small boys and even the youth, they help in managing and also the protecting the trees. So what I'm trying to say is that there should be a change in strategy to manage trees that are planted. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Prof. All the discussion is moving around energy and sustainability. So you can see everyone is just concerned about, yes, there are tree plantings, but strategies and attitudinal change for people to accept and own it. Thank you. So the next...
Yes, and also one thing we want to see, especially in the next 3 contributions, is partnerships. So who is willing to work with who is willing to partner with who. We've all had what we do here for most of us that were able to speak. So we also want to hear partnerships that we want to start building from this moment, from now, 4 p.m., and then what we can do around that. That's more of what we want to see also. Number 3, yes, you're 5, sir. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. My name is Abdul Jabbar Abdul Salam Ibrahim. I am a climate change advocate and also a freelance climate journalist. I am standing here on behalf of the young people. Though in Nigeria there are many definitions of being young or being part of the youth, but as I stand here, I am 30 years old. So I'm calling on the youth that, you see, all the people that are within 40 and above, there is a limited chance of them repeating the same age alive, meaning getting to, let's say, 80 years or 100 years. So, yeah, we are all Muslims or religious people, but let's face the fact. So I'm calling on the youth. Nobody will give you power or nobody will give you space in the climate space just because you are only youth or because of your age. But what matters is what are you bringing to the table? The climate space is very diverse. Come to think of it, choose one, develop yourself in it, find your mentor in it, and continue building yourself. This is my calling on the youth. And also another key factor is find a mentor. As I'm standing here, I found myself being a mentee of Mala Umar Saleh Anka. While he has also acknowledged the presence of his mentors, I would also like to acknowledge his presence here as my mentor. So find your own mentor after this program. You made mention of partnerships. Like I said earlier, I'm a freelance journalist with one of the TV stations here in Kano that has over 40 million viewers across Hausa-speaking states and countries. So I would like to have the contacts of those with startups. We have a segment for them in the Climate Change Africa program called Climate Champions, where we showcase what the youths are doing in solving the problems of climate change. Thank you. Oh, sorry. The station is Ariwa 24, and the program is Climate Change Africa, which is being aired 7 in the evening every Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Abdul Jabbar Abdul Salam Ibrahim.
So we will take the last one.
Second to the last, that's number 4.
So please make it snappy. I will invite Blessing to give me some of the answer to the question.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Wajiha Abdullahi Maaz from Ahmadu Bello University. Though I came late, but from what I chipped in to get, I think the deforestation policy, we need policy makers at this stage to make laws that will be respected for deforestation. If we have laws in Kano, please let them stop sleeping in the papers. Let them bring them out, let them be vibrant, move them to the house, so that how people are advocating for gender-based violence, rape, and co., then deforestation should be a chapter for us to work on. And the second thing is the tree planting. Kano is at the zenith of tree planting every year, but the question is, what is the sustainability of the trees we are planting? Every year during rainy season, from government to so many organizations, we plant millions of trees, but come back by March, April, they are yellow. So we cannot continue planting trees without making provisions of how to take care of them. So please now, the answer is how can we sustain the trees for them to be what we always say, Allah Ejigan Ahmadu Bello, they planted trees. So if we want to have this kind of commendations, we need to maintain them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We take the 5th and the last, yes.
Assalamu alaikum. No, not representing young people. I think I am 50 plus. I am Dr. Ado Garba from Federal University, Dutse, Jigawa State. I am also the president of Food and PEDS Awareness Promotion Initiative in Nigeria, which Anka is also a member, and Madam Aisha is also a member. We focus on the climate change issue and organic agriculture. Now we receive presentations, we listen carefully from so many people here that issue of a climate justice. But I waited to hear some recommendations like considering the critical stakeholders. Let me give you a case study with Jigawa State. During the third administration before this one, trees were planted along the road. When you are entering Jigawa, you will see them. On coming to the next governorship, where are the trees? Are they there? They are not. So that is to say, this issue of management of the trees should be taken care into serious what? Consideration. And also, we are calling for planting trees, planting trees. Where are we supposed to plant the trees? Is it in our houses, our farms, main roads, or where? I suggest to start with, let's look at graveyard areas. We plant trees there. That's number one. Number two, mosque or churches where people used to perform ablution. Water is there also. And the schools, try to introduce this issue of tree planting in our schools. Each student should plant a tree. When that student is graduating, we'll hand it over to the next student, like that, up to the period when the trees will grow. Then the next one is some measures to be taken. We have to go down to the critical stakeholders. It means our anguas, the digachi, the hakimi, the chief imam, and the pastors, where they are. That is to say, if you see any person that cut tree, ask him, where did he cut the tree? Some level of fine or some punishment should be enforced. Because if the traditional rulers here present can take this measure to the grassroots, definitely cutting down of trees will be reduced. And again, one of the punishment is when you are caught, you cut one tree, definitely you will plant 5. And you will water it by all means. If you refuse to do that, you will be taken to police or military or even court. We need to be serious on this issue. We need to also remove away politics from all these policies we are coming up with to sustain the environment. If not, we will just be always wasting time, just presenting papers and going while change is not taking place. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ado. I want to use this opportunity to invite Blessing to just in 2 minutes talk about how Green Legacy is collaborating with local communities in ensuring sustainability. But before she do that, I want to recognize some people that came from Yobe State just to attend this. Yobe State representatives, can you stand up for recognition? All the way from Yobe. And there are other teams from Bauchi State. So Dr. Ado is from Jigawa State. So you can see how burning the issue is. People are just willing to come and just listen and contribute their own quota. Thank you very much. Blessing, you have the floor. You have 2 minutes, or you can extend if you like, but you will be the second to the last one.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start by asking a question. We are all parents here, right? We have children at home, right? And as a mother, if my child comes home to say, somebody beats me up mercilessly in school, I won't take it. I will defend my child. If possible, I'll beat that child back. If I cannot beat the child, I'll beat the parents, right? So for Green Legacy, what we are doing is every custodian will be a parent to a tree. You protect it with your life, you defend it, and make sure you keep it safe until it grows to maturity. Even when it grows, you still keep an eye on it. So like our last person spoke, if somebody cuts your tree down, what will you do? I need an answer, please. What will you do? A tree that you've protected and grown to maturity, what will you do? You will sue the person. You do a lot of things. So I'll run you through what Green Legacy is doing. I wish I was pre-informed. I would have presented a slide. So we have the people we call custodians. We have custodians, we have extension officers, and we have IT support team. Now, I am a tree. Sorry, I'm going to do a lot of, I need 3 young people to join me here, please. If you are a youth, please join me here. I want to do a quick illustration. No, Dr. Anka, I don't need you. Quick. Where are the youths? The starters, I need you here. I need you here, please. Join me quickly. Thank you. So, you are a tree. Sorry. You are a tree. And you are assigned. He's been assigned to you. This tree, what is your name as a tree?
Aliyu Balarabe.
Aliyu is the tree. Where is your location?
Zaria.
Zaria. What kind of tree are you?
Mango.
He's mango. So this is my tree ID. He has just given you his ID as a tree. Now this is the custodian. What's your name?
Abdul Jabbar.
Make sure you are in the same location with this guy. So you cannot be in London where he is in another place. So, so you are the custodian.
Okay.
So where is your location?
Samaru Zaria.
Are you from Zaria? Yes. Okay. He's from Samaru Zaria. So I'm giving you mango, right? And he's in the same place with you. Now, where is my, okay, gender equality. So we have an extension officer assigned to work with the custodian. Then we have the IT lady. Now, what this guy will do will make sure that this custodian is putting water inside this mango. Is making sure the mango is growing. Is making sure the leaves are not yellow. Is making sure that the mango tree is bearing fruit, is flowering, what are the circle? He's doing everything. So he makes sure. Now this guy gives this lady, my extension officer, makes sure this custodian has all the knowledge on how to manage this tree. She visits this guy periodically to make sure that he's managing. Now, everything I'm explaining to you is it has a mobile application and it has a web application. These are technology that we have put in place at Green Legacy. Now, this guy, he has created this identity into the system. He has this custodian that is attached to this guy in the system. This lady has all the information about these 3 people in the system. Now, all this lady needs to do is to log in. I'm seeing this mango for wherever I am sitting, in Abuja, in UK, because this place is going to be mapped by the guys that are working with this beautiful IT support team. So there's going to be a mapping, a physical mapping location. So wherever Blessing, I'm the project manager. Wherever I am seeing what these 3 people are doing. I'm seeing the activities. I'm seeing that the tree, at every stage, this guy will take a picture of this tree and put in the system. Now, this is a network that we have put in place. It is tested and we are rolling. Right now, we are rolling out custodians. We have a list of custodians that have been uploaded into the system, and we are looking to grow into the space. Now, this is the network we have put in place to protect our trees, to keep them safe, and to make sure they last for a lifetime. Now, this guy will do anything to anybody that touches this guy. Thank you.
Thank you, Blessing, for blessing the occasion with solutions to the problem practically. And she has been going to the field actually to support Green Legacy's work. and bringing sustainability into the Green Legacies project. I want to hand over the mic to Ahmad so that he can call for the closure of the event. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Anka and all our wonderful contributors also. It's really engaging and very much insightful also. And like we said, we want to see partnerships happening in this room. Please and please and please, I would like to, and on behalf of the partners and the organizers, we want to encourage you as you leave this room to please partner with at least one or two people or organizations that are doing something around climate. That is the only way we can scale the impact of the work that we are doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gradually moving closer to the end of this event, quite historic. We have just 2 more things remaining on the agenda, and don't worry, it wouldn't take the next 1 hour to do this. In about 5-10 minutes, we'll be able to close. We respect and appreciate your time, and we respect and appreciate your staying here. To deliver the closing remarks, I would invite Muhammad Najib Abdullahi, who is the Managing Director, Green Legacy Limited. A round of applause for him, please.
Our royal fathers, the chairman of Green Legacy Limited, Alhaji Nasru Wada, Magajin Garin Kano, our esteemed partners from the Center for Climate Justice, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on existing protocol. As we bring this powerful and inspiring event to a close, I stand before you with immense gratitude and a deep sense of hope. On behalf of Green Legacy Limited, I sincerely thank you for your presence, your active participation, and most importantly, your unwavering commitment to the cause of climate justice in Africa. Throughout today's summit, we have engaged with bold ideas, honest reflections, and a practical strategies from some of the brightest minds and bravest voices in our region, from reversing deforestation to empowering women and youth, and from justice-driven renewable energy strategies to grassroots-led policy advocacy. It is clear that the path forward must be African-led, community-centered, and inclusive at every level. I would like to especially recognize and thank our chairman, Alhaji Muhammadu Nasru Wada, Magajin Garin Kano, for his visionary leadership. His passion for environmental sustainability led to the creation of Green Legacy Limited, and his continued guidance inspires the work we do across northern Nigeria. Our esteemed partners from the Center for Climate Justice, thank you for traveling all the way from Rwanda to be with us. Your presence and partnership have greatly enriched this summit and deepened our shared resolve to build a truly Pan-African movement for climate justice. We also commend the Kano State government for its steadfast effort and leadership in tackling environmental challenges. Your proactive policies and commitment to sustainability provide a strong platform for lasting impact at the state and community levels. Let me extend my heartfelt appreciation to His Highness, the Emir of Kano, Khalifa Muhammad Sanusi II, for his unwavering commitment to environmental sustainability. His leadership and wisdom continue to inspire and guide our efforts. I also commend our grassroots champions whose dedication and protecting our natural environment remains the backbone of community-driven climate action. Together, their efforts form the foundation of our collective strength. A special thank you to the entire Green Legacy team for their hard work and dedication in organizing this outstanding and impactful event. Your effort have made today not just a success, but a landmark moment in our climate justice journey. As we look ahead to Rwanda Country Insight event and the upcoming Sustainability Summit in Kigali this September, I urge us all to carry forward the momentum and insight we have gained today. Let us not just speak about justice, let us plant it, nurture it, and grow it into a legacy that generations to come will be proud of. Thank you once again. May our shared commitment to climate justice continue to flourish, and may we reconvene with even greater stories of impact and transformation. I wish you all safe travel home. May peace and purpose guide you all, guide your every step. Thank you.
That has been Mohammed Najib with the closing remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever has a beginning will surely have an end. I want to thank you all so much, from our speakers to our dignitaries, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, to everybody that has made this possible. People that came all the way from Rwanda and from different states and cities in Nigeria, and even beyond. We want to thank you so much for coming, for blessing this great event. To our speakers, moderators, and panelists, and even contributors, we also thank you so much for adding color and flavor to the event. All the discussions have been noted, all the contributions have also been taken note of, and this is going to form the insights from Nigeria. It's going to shape climate change policy and also solutions beyond Nigeria, in Africa, and for the rest of the world. The team at Green Legacy and the team at SATA, Center for Climate Justice, thank you so much. All the partners that are here, the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, Nigeria Climate Justice Alliance, Esoterra, NCF, Sustainable Actions for Nature, PACE, FCDO also, National Council on Climate Change, Yusanka Foundation, and SITES also, Sufi Development Initiative, and also Kai Bank that is outside. We thank you so much for making this happen and for contributing to this. I keep saying, we don't just want to have a conversation and just leave. It's not that kind of event we want to have. We want for these discussions to create solutions. So as we leave this place, based on the insights and perspectives that we've had from our wonderful speakers, let's begin to think, please, of solutions and how we can work together to help Nigeria, to help Kano State, to help Nigeria, to help Africa, and by extension to help the world solve this whole climate issue. Ladies and gentlemen, just two more things remain. I know I had said two there earlier. First is the flyer lunch. Before I invite us, so we're going to take a group photo in batches. I would invite us to come to proceed here to take the group photo. But before we do that, we're going to launch the flyer for the next event. So tech team, if we're ready, can we project the flyer for the next event? We had mentioned, who remembers the three cities I had mentioned earlier? I had mentioned 3 cities that this is happening in. Kano is already happened, Kano has happened, and it's a success. What is the next city? I had mentioned a city. There will be a gift for whosoever gets it right, but not from the SATA team, of course. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the flyer for our next event, Sustainability Summit 2025, Advancing Climate Justice to Build Resilient Communities, and it's going to take place at Airline House, Nairobi, Kenya, on the 7th of October, 2025. To the team organizing this, we wish you all the best. We wish for you to have success like we just did here in Kano. even greater level of success. I would first invite all our speakers, from the moderators to the panelists, to everybody who has delivered a speech here, from the keynotes to the remarks, and to also the contributors. First, please proceed to the stage as we take our group photo. So first, and then together with the FCDO team and the SATA team also. So FCDO team, SATA, and our speakers, please, let's have the first group photo. All the speakers. Moderators, panelists, speakers, FCDO team, SATA team, Green Legacy, Center for Climate Justice. Green Legacy. Okay. So we don't have to sit, so others could stand here and others could stand here. Yes. So I would love for you to go up. Up. Yes. No.
You want the tall people to go up and you want the short people to stay down, so it looks